Hello, guys. Welcome to another episode of the e-commerce lab by Ecomcy, the place for everything related to Amazon FBA private label and e-commerce. My name is Vincenzo Toscano, founder and CEO of Ecomcy. And today we'll bring you Nachman Lieser, who is the founder and CEO of Connect Books, which is an amazing software when it comes to helping you deal with everything that's to do around your bookkeeping and accounting, specifically in this commerce space. And that's why we wanted to bring him today because we know sometimes everything that has to do with accounting can be a little bit of a nightmare, specifically for those that still do it manually. So I think Nagman today is going to highlight what are some of the benefits of including a software solution like this, your daily operations, and how it can help you to scale your e-commerce business further. So Nagman, it's a pleasure to have you here today. How you doing, my friend?
I'm doing great, and thank you for having me.
It's a pleasure. Thank you for coming. For me, after seeing what you guys do with your software solution, it's very important to put this out there because I feel everything that's to do with accounting is always a bit challenging for some people, specifically when they're getting started for the first time into the business space. Understanding the numbers and making sure you have everything clean. And I feel including something like a software solution can be a game changer, specifically because we all know that in e-commerce, if you don't know your numbers, then for sure your business can go in negative very easily. So it's a pleasure. Before we get started, actually, in terms of highlighting what you guys do and everything, I would like to first start with you, just as I do with all my guests, just to understand what you have done in terms of what brought you to the e-commerce space, and then from there, what gave you the idea of starting Connect Books. Yeah.
Yeah, so I have quite an interesting story. Um, my background is not e-commerce, so
Okay.
I am actually an accountant, and
Oh,
I went to school for accounting. I started my own company like 5 years ago doing bookkeeping for small to medium-sized businesses.
okay.
And as I started this company, I started to like just go after. I used to be a CFO in a large wholesale business where
Okay.
they had a lot of inventory, which that's where I got a lot of my experience. Meaning, in the Amazon business, a big part of the bookkeeping, what let's say difference Amazon than construction is knowing your inventory numbers, understanding cost of goods sold, and all that. So I worked in a huge inventory company, not an e-commerce one, but we had like 25,000 different SKUs, a huge warehouse, and I was CFO. Then I finished my school. I got my master's degree in accounting, and then I wanted to open my own business. So I opened up a bookkeeping company that we were focusing to do more bookkeeping plus CFO services for small, medium-sized businesses. And then I started to, like, 6 months into the process is where I started to work with Amazon sellers, and they came to me, and the story in that Amazon account was a private label. This was like
Mm-hmm.
5 years ago before anybody sold businesses, but there were two partners and they wanted to separate. So partner A was going to buy off partner B, and
Okay.
they were private label with 10 items. And but the problem was that partner B was only a partner in 3 out of the 10, so they need to
Wow.
know how much
A
money
nightmare.
every product made. Yeah. So besides having good books and like because they were doing valuations in the business, so besides having good books and understanding the profitability, which was one big job, the second, the one of the big focuses were like how much money these three products made because he was like, I'm not paying you for the other products. So that
Yeah.
was my first Amazon account I worked on, and I was, trying to expand my bookkeeping company, and I was like looking to build it, and I was trying to see, and then this idea after working so many months on this, I worked like a good 4 to 5 months on this Amazon account because I had to do like 2 to 3 years worth of bookkeeping, and I had no books, no nothing. They gave me like bank accounts and like you figure everything out, and
Wow.
it was very complicated. So
Mm.
then I finished it, and I also built a lot of spreadsheets and automations. Like so, I also went to Amazon, downloaded all different type of reports, and put everything together into spreadsheets and used different softwares to import it to QuickBooks. So at that point, I was like thinking to myself, and this guy was telling me, like in the Amazon space, these no good bookkeepers, people don't know it. He's like, if you could come up with a good idea, this will help you a lot. So originally, I was looking to expand my bookkeeping company, so I built Connect Books for myself. I
Wow.
didn't start it off as a SaaS. I built
Okay.
it for myself, and my goal was that I would, approach other Amazon sellers and say, hey, you want me to do your bookkeeping? This is what I would charge. Now, on my end, I would like use the software internally to kind of automate a lot of the work so I can get it done faster and give better pricing. So that was the goal. And then I started speaking to certain Amazon sellers, and they were like, we have a bookkeeper, we have a CFO, and this.
Mm-hmm.
And they were like, we would like to use the software, but we're not ready to give you the bookkeeping. So that's when I kind of split up the two, and
Okay.
we made it to two separate companies where we run a full bookkeeping company, and then we also do then we also run the software where anybody wants, they can go and just sign up and just use the software on their own. And then
Yeah.
what's funny was that so what happened was that we started, I got very busy with the software, and at some point the bookkeeping company like slowed down a little bit because I
Okay.
was just all day busy with the software, and I was building software, developing it, and then we went on to trade shows, promoting it, and all that.
Yeah.
And then at some point, we started getting a lot of bookkeeping business through the software,
I
and then we
see.
decided to make a 360 turn on the bookkeeping company, and we said that we're only going to do bookkeeping for e-commerce. So we specialize in e-commerce and Amazon, especially Walmart, eBay, Shopify, and all our bookkeeping customers today are e-commerce customers, and then we have the software as well on the side too.
Okay, very interesting. Yeah, I love the journey. You basically found the issue, and then by finding your struggle, then from there you created the solution, which is very interesting. So thank you for sharing that history with us. Now let's start jumping into the actual company, which is your software company, Connect Books, and let's start talking about what are some of the benefits e-commerce seller can start getting from using a software solution, because maybe some people that are hearing this episode right now they're doing everything that's do with their accounts on a manual process, like everything in spreadsheets. So maybe they try to figure out themselves with downloading every single report from Amazon, which is a nightmare to do that. So maybe let's start with first what is Connect Books and how you can actually use that with let's say with your e-commerce business on a daily operations. Yeah.
Yeah, sure. So ConnectBooks is an accounting automation tool. So the way I vision ConnectBooks and the way I see it is we I would say we service like from it's two different, there's like two huge parts of software. The first thing is it's an automation tool.
Okay.
So if you're a very skilled accountant, like if you really know accounting through and through, if you want to do a very detailed, good bookkeeping job, you're going to be spending hours to do this
Mm-hmm.
yourself. So with a click of a button, we just automate the process. The second step is that if you're not as skilled or you don't know, or let's say for example you're new to e-commerce or you're accountant that you haven't dealt really with e-commerce, if you want to do it on your own, you'll be spending hours to kind of figure out what to do, because you have to know how to pull the reports, you have to know how to read the reports, you have to know how to play with it, you have to know how to insert it. By us, if you just sign up for the software, we'll do an onboarding call with you. So when you sign up, we have like a sales call where we discuss, the software with you, make sure you're the right fit. And once you go ahead and you sign up for the software, we'll give you an onboarding call where we walk you through the software, make sure that you understand how ConnectBooks and integrates to QuickBooks, meaning pushing over data to QuickBooks anybody can do, but we do it right and we do it nice and neatly. So we want to make sure that you understand how the flow works, so not that it comes in and it messes up your books. So it gives you, like, I would say we go from both angles. If you're not so skilled and you want to learn it, we'll walk you through the process A to Z. And once you set up, it's just every 2 weeks the settlements come in. It's a click of a button. If you don't really, what I'm saying, and even if you do know, you can, we had somebody who called in yesterday, a bookkeeper. She is doing bookkeeping for 25 Amazon businesses, and she's doing it already for 4 years. She like didn't know too much about us, and then she got an email. It's like, wow, I'm blown away by all this. She's like, her problem is that she spends like 10 hours a month per account doing all this
Wow.
work, and she's like,
Yeah.
but I charge for this. So if I put them on Connect Books, what am I gonna do? Like, I
Yeah.
have to lower my price or not? They're like, I'm saying even if you're very skilled, it's gonna save them a lot of money, a lot of time. And also when it comes to reporting, we have very good reports, which
Mm-hmm.
is most probably, even if you do the work manually, the reporting is impossible to do because let's say you make a nice report of last month. So you made a report of November, you make your
Yeah.
boss's gorgeous report and you hand it over to him. Fine. Now the boss comes and says, okay, I want to see the last quarter also. Okay, so now take the November,
Wow. Yeah.
October, December, put that all together, and I'll give it to him. Then it comes, let me see last year. I want to see just this product the last 6 months. So if you have a software, you just click, put in different dates, and just hit run report, and just play around with it.
Yeah.
So it's like it's a lot of on that end as well. So it's kind of like a real automation process that saves you hours and hours of work. And if you don't know what to do about it, we'll help you on that part as well.
Very interesting. Now you mentioned is an automated accounting tool. So just to explain what the automated side of things means, I guess for everybody that's hearing this, in essence, what it means is that as soon as you connect to your Amazon account, the software would be able to automatically identify what each report belongs to what and do the whole reporting within the dashboard you're going to have within the software, right?
Right. So we connect to QuickBooks. We're a QuickBooks integration platform. So
Okay.
in terms of accounting, I don't want to get too nitty gritty in accounting, but the basic thing in accounting is you want to, if I would give you a P&L of your business, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know your business, I'm just saying numbers. But if, let's say your business did last month $100,000 in sales, and let's say it made $10,000 in profit, who said it's accurate? Maybe you made no money. Maybe I forgot to enter a check, right?
Mm-hmm.
So in what you do is in QuickBooks, you have a bank account that
Mm-hmm.
matches your regular bank where your funds come in. Now, what you do is you take your regular bank account and you take your QuickBooks bank account, and you want these two to match. Because if it matches, then you know that every penny that came in and every penny that went out is recorded in QuickBooks. So when I give you a profit and loss, you know it's accurate because you know everything is in there.
Mm-hmm.
So when you get from Amazon a $100,000 deposit for 2 weeks of sale, how are you booking that transaction? How are you entering that in QuickBooks? I understand in the QuickBooks, in your bank account, it's one deposit that comes in as a one line, but that is representing 2 weeks worth of sales, orders, fees. It can be a loan, sales tax, you name it. So we constantly connect to Amazon every hour and we refresh our program, meaning besides our dashboard and reporting to where we show you the analytics on the product level and all that, we constantly connect to, to Amazon and we get all that information. So when we bring it into QuickBooks, we bring in all the orders, all the fees, and we have like 10 different ways we can bring it in. And we deal with sellers who do above 10 million and we deal with sellers who do like 200,000.
Yeah.
So it's every customer gets their own setup and we walk through them the different options and whatever works for them, that's how we go about it. So
Okay.
when all what they got to do is in terms when they in their bank account. So when they sign up for QuickBooks, what they'll do is they'll let's say connect their Chase Bank and they'll start to pull all the transactions. So when it comes in that $100,000 deposit from Amazon, all they got to do is just hit match to Connect Books. So basically, it's going to match it to Connect Books, and that part is all done. And then they still need to do the regular bookkeeping, in terms of payroll, rent, overhead, and all those
Mm-hmm.
other stuff. But
Yeah,
that's
I
kind
wanted
of
to actually ask you that. Basically, these reports are ready to go. That means the only thing you need to do from your side is all the legal procedure to basically do the accounts of your company and register everything with your entity. Right?
so the way I
Uh,
explain it is in QuickBooks, there's two parts. There's
okay.
customers and vendors. Customers to who
Okay.
you sell, vendors to who you purchase from.
Okay.
So we automate the customer side, meaning the sales from Amazon, but you still have to take care of vendors, meaning you buy stuff on Alibaba, it's
Mm-hmm.
rent, payroll, overhead,
Other
all that.
expenses.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that you do. And that's pretty simple, straightforward. You can kind of, QuickBooks also has rules and stuff you can automate
Sure.
and then do all that.
Okay, interesting. Now, I also see that you guys bring something very interesting, which is inventory tracking, and the reason why I want to bring this to the table because when it comes to also accounting in general, one big mistake I have seen even with our clients when we do auditing is that the way they track inventory as an asset within their accounts sometimes can be very misleading, right? There are ways you need to take in consideration how you basically calculate your inventory, especially in your books. So, talk us a little bit about this feature you guys offer in terms of inventory tracking, and what is some of the features basically sellers get out of it. Yeah,
Sure. So I want to, before we jump into that, I want to just say a little story. I have
sure,
a
feel free.
customer that did last year $25 million in sales on Amazon.
Okay,
His net profit was 1.4 million,
okay,
meaning after everything, after overhead payroll, everything 1.4 million. So I would say it's beautiful, no?
yeah.
Okay. Then we went to check his balance sheet. So those people not familiar with the balance sheet in accounting have the two basic reports. You have profit and loss, which gives you income expense, and then the balance sheet is a very important report because the balance sheet will tell you the assets of the business, how much they're worth, with the loans and the equity against
Mm-hmm.
the company. So on the balance sheet, we made a balance sheet comparison, meaning we compared 2 years. We compared, so it was the end of last year, so we compared to the year before. So in the beginning of the year, he had $3 million worth of inventory, and
Okay,
at the end of the year, he had $6 million worth of inventory.
okay,
So now let's go back to our original question. He had the 1.4 million in profit. However, that
yeah.
1.4 million got buried into inventory because inventory went from 3 million to 6 million. So at the end of the year, he had no money in his bank and he was crying. He's like, "What's going on? How am I making so much money?
But
Like
I don't
this,
see it.
I don't see it. So that's very important. That goes back to your question in terms of
Yeah.
inventory tracking. If you're not on top of your inventory numbers and you don't have a proper way to understand how much your inventory is worth at any given time and how your inventory is increasing or decreasing, you can look at any, like, you can take a reporting tool, like even ConnectBooks. You can look at your reports and see, wow, today I made this amount of money per product. Today I made this amount. Wow, I
Hmm.
made today $20,000. But on the other hand, if you have a lot of dead inventory or inventory that's not selling, those are, I call them the silent killers,
Yeah,
because
and that's a
you
loss. Yeah.
yeah, because it doesn't show up in your profit and loss. So your profit and loss looks gorgeous because you're showing all this profit. On the other hand, you have so much buried inventory. So in terms of inventory tracking, what's very important to understand, how much is your inventory really worth? What is the value of your inventory? How much inventory are you sitting with? And you want to afterwards take that and break it down per product. So what we offer is in QuickBooks, if you want to do like a very detailed inventory tracking, let me say every time you purchase something from a vendor, you can itemize the QuickBooks and say, okay, I purchased this product, I purchased this product, I purchased this product. So now QuickBooks knows how much the inventory is worth. And then when the sales come in from ConnectBooks, they would also come in on an item level. So QuickBooks will know, okay, you bought in this product X amount, let's say a year ago, $100, let's say you bought 100 units at a rate of $1, and then you're selling, let's say, 50 units and the rate of 50 cent, whatever you sell it of, and this is how much you have left, and this is what your inventory is. So that's really, where it comes very strong into play, to really understand the inventory numbers, to really understand the inventory value, know what's coming in, know what's going out, to kind of have the full picture on that end.
Good. Now, another thing I also would like to highlight is also how efficient using a software solution can be compared of using basically a bookkeeper to do this work manually, right? Because just to highlight the feature that you can get out of this is like if you have a person that maybe is full time, if your company is big enough already to have a person full time, if you can give us just a quick comparison on the amount of resources you can save, because I mean, you're here, you're paying just a software subscription compared to having a full-time person doing it, right? So maybe you can give us a bit of insight on that as well.
Sure. So, I mean, on our website, you can see we have case studies that we did with other bookkeeping companies and just some of our customers that used it, and they write exactly how much time they saved. But I originally, before I built this program, I used to do this work myself manually.
Okay.
And when you work off spreadsheets, I don't have to tell you that one little cell, the formula is not good, then the whole spreadsheet is off.
And it's
And
easy to do it, especially
yeah,
when you do so many on a daily basis. Yeah.
yeah, and and especially when you're working late at night and you're trying to catch up work.
Yeah.
So I remember, like, I used to have this one box that would calculate all the boxes to make sure that everything is right.
Yeah.
And so many times I had a few times that this one box wasn't matching, and it would take me literally like 15-20 minutes to find the mistake, like
Sure.
which one is off, which one isn't matching. With the software, we don't have those issues, meaning the software works, no one could touch the code. This is how it does it all the time. And before we make any release or any new update, we have somebody in the office. His job is, full time, just to test. His job
Yeah.
is, he takes the new feature, tests it, and we test it all the time. We make sure there's no deficiencies with that. So I would say the first thing of a software that outweighs a human is not making any mistakes. I'm not gonna say that there never can be a problem in a program, but on a day-to-day basis, I mean, we have a team. We do bookkeeping for a lot of Amazon sellers. I would never be able to scale my bookkeeping company
No,
without the software.
it's impossible. Yeah.
And then we also help a lot of bookkeeping companies. The only time that I would really say the only times I see an issue is, like, sometimes people, like I told you a story before, this person's doing already the work manually. So they told
Okay.
the customer, it's so much work, so I have to charge you so much money. But then if you cut away half their work, they don't know what to do. But I would say they shouldn't be scared of that. They should focus on scaling. And also what I would say is that we also take out the complexity of the bookkeeping, meaning to say, let's say you have a hard time finding a very, like, to do this work manually, you'll need to have a really solid bookkeeper, somebody who is, like, really well versed in everything. And especially these days, when it's hard to find employees, to find somebody who knows all this is going to be really hard. Versus if you want to take someone who's not so experienced, it's going to be much easier because you're taking away all the complexity.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. I totally agree with you. I think is, I mean, the human factor. even if your stuff is very normal, you're gonna make a mistake, especially if it's everything that has to do with so many numbers and Excel sheets and all of that. So totally agree. It's a benefit whatever you see it to use a software 100%. Um, awesome. The other thing I would like to clarify, because I think this is also important for people watching this episode to know, is that for sure, just to make sure when you use this software solution, do you always need to have QuickBooks to use it, or maybe you can use other solutions when implementing it?
So we have like we primarily focus now on QuickBooks. We do QuickBooks Online and desktop. We do both. We will be, I would say, probably in Q2 of 2023, we'll probably have a zero integration as well.
Awesome.
And then we also connect with like bigger ERP systems. So like if somebody wants to use like Sage or let's say NetSuite, we have some
Hmm.
like custom integration that we can do there as well. But our primary focus at the moment is QuickBooks.
Okay, very nice. Awesome, awesome. Great. So yeah, I think we cover a lot of things. To be honest, I think we touched the best features I can highlight here out of Connect Books. But I don't know if there is something else you would like to bring to the table. Maybe any last anecdote or history. Yeah, feel free to share anything before we conclude the episode. Yeah.
Sure. So one of the new features that we're rolling out now, I would say we're going to be rolling out two really new features I'm very excited about. One
Okay.
is importing fees. So a lot of people bring in containers from China. What happens is they want to take that shipping and allocate it back to the product. So
Mm-hmm.
let's say a container costs you $5,000, $6,000. You want to take, I mean, let's not talk about when it was 20,000 in COVID, but if it costs you now 5 to 6 thousand a container, you want to take that $6,000 and add that back to the cost of the product. Um, for various reasons you want to do. Number one, you want to know what your true cost of the product is. Number
Yeah.
two is also if you ever want to sell your Amazon business, you want to show more profitability. That means to say, let's say you spend a year $1 million to import containers, just on importing fees. And let's say half of it, and let's say you only sell this year half of your inventory. So really, your fees for this year is only a half a million because the other half a million you still have in your inventory.
Yeah.
Now, if you don't track that properly, then you're going to show this year you made a half a million dollars less versus if you do it properly, you show more profit. So it's very important that Amazon sellers take the shipping cost and allocate it back. Now the question is how you do it. So the
Mm-hmm.
way you do it is you have to know how much space each product takes up in a container. So the way you calculate is the CBM, the cubic base measurement, cubic base meters, and you take each product, you see how what the size is. Then you take, let's say, a 40 high Q container is like 67 CBM, and you split it by that, and then you take that measurement and you look how much the container costed, and you split it accordingly. So it's a very
Mm-hmm.
complicated task to do, and every time you have a bill, it'll probably take you like a half hour to split it. Each bill I say would take a half hour. We have rolled out a tool that completely automates that, and it's mind blowing.
Wow.
My office, I mean, I know my office. I mean, the thing I like also about my software is we do hands-on bookkeeping as well. So my workers here have been spending literally 30 minutes to take a container that had like 10 different products and getting all
Yeah.
the measurements, splitting it. So we have a tool that automates that. It's really mind blowing. In two
Wow.
minutes, it's done.
Yeah.
And
Game
so
changer
that
for sure. Yeah.
yeah, that helps out a lot. And then we are also going to be rolling out, I would say, probably in the next 4 weeks, is
Mm-hmm.
comparison reports. So, like a lot of times, sellers want to see a certain product. You know how we have now regular reports. We'll show you like gross sales, all the Amazon fees, PPC, storage fees, everything allocated per product. But let's
Okay.
say you want to see this week versus last week, this week versus
Mm-hmm.
this month. Like so you'll be able to go like I think up to 4 or 5 different time frames. Like let's say this month, like let's say the last
Okay.
4 months, month over month, the last 4 weeks, week over week, and you'll see the sales, all the fees, organic sales, PPC. You'll see everything compare one to the other, which is a beautiful, gorgeous, mind-boggling report. And we're going live with that also in the next 4 weeks.
Oh,
We also,
congrats.
yeah, thanks on that. And then we also recently rolled out like a cheaper pricing. So we have,
Okay.
let's say, our packages starts from $49 a month. So
Okay.
if we have, let's say, but it's meant for really small sellers. So the idea was that a lot of times these small sellers, they don't want to pay so much money for the software in the beginning.
Sure.
So it's more like for startup companies that are just starting out and they don't have that many orders. So we have
Mm-hmm.
cheaper pricing on that, and the packages start there from $49 a month. On top
Okay.
of that, we're going to offer a special promotion for the listeners of the show. We
Thank you.
have, if they sign up, they put in the coupon code 𝐂𝐿𝐿, and that's ECOMCY coupon code when they sign up. They'll get additional 10% off, and that's going to be limited for the first 10 signups. So the first
Wow.
10 people who sign up, they get it. Number 11 won't get it. I'm sorry.
Thank you for that, Nachman. I appreciate the coupon. I'm gonna make sure to put it down in the description. To conclude, do you also want to share, maybe somebody wants to, reach out to you, ask you any questions, or maybe your team, where they can find you?
Sure. So the best way is to reach us is come to our website, connectbooks.com. And any questions they have, we have a chat. I would say, especially if you're coming from different time zones, other stuff, the best is to go into the chat. We'll reach right back out to you, or they can call us in, or whatever they want. But the best way is to just go to the website, open up a chat, and just reach out to us.
Awesome. So thank you for that. I'm looking forward to have you in the next one when all these new features are up, so we can discuss them further. Yeah.
All
So I
right. Thank you
appreciate your
so
time.
much.
Bye bye. Take